Okay. Greeting the Akron Civil Rights Commission meeting of April 5th, 2022 is called to order. Present, if we could, and this is a departure, but I will note the attendance of the following commissioners. First, Vice Chair Reverend Annette Pitt, Fran Wilson, Commissioner Gina K. Maddox, Commissioner Dr. Sheldon Rice, Commissioner Bruce Alexander, present from the city of Akron as our IT support, Nina Ost, from the legal department, John York, law director, Eve Belfance, guest of the city, Chief of Staff, Gerd Wilms, and Mr. Philip Young, who is a liaison. Thank you and welcome all. With respect to the agenda, thank you, Commissioner Wilson. The first item of business is approval of the minutes of March 2022. Is there a motion?
So move.
Move to accept.
Second.
Okay, I will note that the motion was made by Commissioner Alexander with a second by Commissioner Rice. And pursuant to our rules, the vote will be by roll call. And I'm going based on my screen. I probably should go alphabetically, but if you all forgive me, I'll just keep it moving. I'm going to go from my screen. Commissioner Maddox, your vote?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Pitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rice?
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander?
Yes.
And the chair is a yay as well. The minutes pass. With regard to the next item of business, I will, regarding the status of the status of minutes of old minutes. Commissioner Wilson.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. I have one more to complete, and that's for October 2021. So keep your eyes peeled for that in the coming weeks. Appreciate the ability to step up and help the commission out with that.
Okay. And to your knowledge, that I believe that's the last one, because at the last meeting, a few minutes were caught up. Is that?
Yes, to my knowledge, that is it for 2021. Yes.
Okay, that would be great. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Regarding onto old business, status of conciliation 20 ARC 0003. This was assigned to the law department. Attorney York, are you? Oh, there you are.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So as you'll recall, at the last meeting, I reported that the complainant decided to withdraw her complaint, understanding that the matter would be dismissed. So the commission at the last meeting noted that the matter would be dismissed and closed. So at the commission's direction, I prepared a letter, which I shared with all of you. It was mailed March 3rd, advising both the complainant and the respondent that the matter was dismissed and closed. So I believe this matter can be removed from the agenda.
Okay, so noted. Thank you very kindly.
Sure.
With regard to item B, status of complaint 19 ACRC 00013. This meeting has been set for a hearing, and since I suppose it reverts to the original investigator and then the assigned hearing officer. So if Commissioner Pitt, if there's any update you'd like to give, and then I'll ask Attorney or Commissioner Maddox if she has an update as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't believe that I'm involved at this point on as the investigator in the case. So I do not have any updates to offer. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Maddox?
I have a note here that they were to respond, I guess, back to the city, back to John York with an agreement about the date. Is that correct? That they were in agreement that about actually meeting? I think the date I have is April 11th. Is
Yeah,
that what we're waiting for, John?
Well, at the commission's direction, on March 9th, I sent a notice to the complainant and the respondent of the dates that the commission set at its last meeting. The notice included that the answer would be due on or before April 11th of 2022. And the hearing is scheduled for May 17th at 4:30, 2022. Those two deadlines haven't passed yet. So I
Right.
have not heard anything from either the respondent or the complainant.
Okay, with regard to the respondent, I am in receipt of an email that came into my ACRC email today, acknowledging, and I will forward it to the commission. That they wanted clarification as to whether they should file an additional answer, and whether it should follow any specific format different from their initial response, and if they can be submitted electronically. And also, given that the in-person hearing is scheduled for May 17th, they are asking if they could schedule the hearing for June or July, because it would involve travel arrangements to ensure all the necessary parties from other states are available. So I did receive that today, but I've been in it came in at 11:09 a.m. and I've been in a meeting practically the whole day. So I was not able to forward that to the commission. I can do so now. With very little preamble. And I have sent that off to you all. And commission, okay, so well, I'll send it there. All right, so I can't send it there. Okay, so it's sent off. So I'm gonna ask Commissioner Maddox, if when you receive this, will you follow up with the city and keep the commission apprised about that scheduling?
Will do.
I think the respondent reached out to me because as the conciliator on this, she was used to reaching out to me. So if that's doable, that would be great if you could follow up with her regarding that matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
I need to ask, is it favorable with the commission to grant the extension in my communication with the respondent?
You're seeking a response. Certainly I don't, I spoke pursuant to Rule 18A, I believe an extension is possible. And they've responded prior to the expiration of the set deadline. Certainly out of state travel for an in-person meeting does seem to present a good faith request. I do know during conciliation, scheduling their outside counsel as well as their inside counsel took a considerable amount of time. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I certainly would love to hear from other commissioners regarding this.
Madam Chair, I would volunteer that from my perspective, so long as Commissioner Maddox, Rice, and Wilson were able to make whatever date was proposed and it suited them, I would have no objection.
Thank you, Commissioner Pitt.
This is
So-
Commissioner Wilson. I think I think that makes sense. If
Okay.
Who else is on it? Commissioner Alexander? Is he? Who's on it? One.
Yes, I'm okay with the extension. If they need that time to get the information needed to move forward with the case.
Thank you very much. So Commissioner Maddox, I think you have the go ahead. It might be a little tasking or a bit of a task to schedule, but I'm sure you'll be able to see it through. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Items 2 under old business, items 2B 2 through 7. These were the parcel of cases that were filed by one complainant. We had scheduled a meeting. There was a no-show, no call by the plaintiff or by the complainant. I've reached out to Fair Housing and left a couple of messages. I also was able to, through a coincidence, attempt to locate the complainant to follow up. There's been no response. So at this time, I'm not sure how I can move forward without a complainant who is responding or acknowledging or the Fair Housing has, they're not responding on her behalf. So I'm at a bit of a pickle in some sense. So I would, in the interest of making sure of due diligence, should I not hear from them, I'll be moving at the next meeting to dismiss this action if I have not received any response. I do know that this individual has moved around a bit, and so it's a bit of a moving target in the interest of the nature of the commission, which are, I would like to give her additional time, but recognizing that it's a bit extraordinary. If there are not any questions, item 8, Commissioner Rice.
Yes, I have completed my investigation. I just actually wrote it up yesterday, and I will be sending it out by in the morning.
Okay.
I do have to ask for clarification, as this was my first case. Do I just send it to everyone at once, or do I send it to Attorney York first? How does that work? I'm just asking for clarification.
I know that we did have some questions, some discussion at a prior meeting regarding giving the report in advance.
Mhm.
And I'm not, if the commission is fine with getting the report in advance, then I think you could send it to the entire commission as long as it's to our commission email address. And please copy the city, so that it's a part of their records as well.
Will do.
Okay. So we'll look forward to reading that, and we'll place that on the agenda for consideration next month with regard to your finding.
So nothing goes out to them until the committee has discussed it?
To the complainants?
Yes.
correct.
Right, our next step is the investigator, when they feel that their investigation is complete, they've completed their report and they feel that they can, based on their investigation, whether or not they would recommend that a finding of I keep calling it probable cause, reasonable cause to believe that discrimination occurred, and the then commission votes. So until the commission votes on that matter, each commissioner then, I wouldn't communicate the recommendation to the complainant or respondent. And I will ask the city if there's if this is consistent with their reading of the rules of procedure of the ACRC.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that perhaps since this is Commissioner Rice's first experience with this, that perhaps we work with you, Commissioner Rice, just to make sure we're on the same page about what it is we're talking about in terms of what you're sharing with the commissioners and what might be some of your own materials. So we're happy to have that conversation in the very near future, just to walk through those things.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Moving on to 2B9 ACRC 2114, Commissioner Maddox. Do you have a report?
This is the Hanjay case. Again, we had difficulty tracking this person down. They're rather transient circumstances. And so he was given a deadline to respond, and John York, he did not meet that deadline. And I forgot to notify you that that deadline had expired. And so our plan was, had he not responded to me in all the ways that we offered him to reach out. So he did not respond. It was a Friday and I was waiting for a call, an email, a text, something. He did not respond. So I think we can make a motion to dismiss, and he can receive the letter that that we have formulated in these kind of cases.
If I could just add to that.
Please, Attorney York.
Thank you. As Commissioner Maddox reported previously, the efforts that she made to contact the complainant by email, phone had failed. So the commission made the decision to do a last-ditch effort to try and notify by mail. So a letter was prepared to the complainant, notifying of the time that was set for the complainant to meet with Commissioner Maddox. That letter was mailed on March 4th. The appointment was to be on the 11th, and it was returned undeliverable on March 14th. So it seems that every attempt has failed. I don't know. I mean, I can prepare a letter to notify if the commission decides to dismiss this. I can prepare that letter and send it, but my expectation is it'll be returned undeliverable.
Okay. So that being the case, Commissioner Maddox, is there a motion that you are seeking to make at this time regarding dismissal of that matter?
I'm prepared to make that motion. So I would like to move that the case with Hanjay and I think it is, was it AMHA?
May I clarify? It's case number 21 ACRC 014. Okay.
Thank you. That case be dismissed for an inability to get in contact with the complainant.
I would second that motion, Commissioner Pitt.
Motion having been made and seconded, is there any discussion that any commissioner would like to add to this? Okay, that being said, no discussion. I will poll the commissioners. Commissioner Maddox? How-
Yes,
You vote yes in favor of the motion?
yes to
Commissioner-
dismiss.
Commissioner Pitt?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Alexander?
Yes.
Commissioner Rice?
Yes,
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
And Commissioner Thomas, yes as well. That motion passed unanimously. I will ask that the city law department send the appropriate letter indicating that it's been dismissed. Thank you. Okay, that with regard to the item number 10 is 21 ACRC 15, Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The investigation is ongoing. And after a bit of legwork and some elbow grease on the ground, I was able to get in contact with the respondent, who's been a bit tricky to get a hold of. So appreciate the extra help from the admin on that. And hopefully I'll be able to wrap up interviews this month and give a report next. I'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On to new business. The commission has received the first case of 2022. And actually, I had a question for, once I really looked at that, I had a question for the law department regarding this matter. And I will, okay.
Madam Chair,
Is the language for executive session? Yes, Mr. York, yes.
yes, I guess I was just anticipating your question.
Mhm.
I noticed that this was a complaint against a state university,
Mhm.
and I believe there's a jurisdictional defect because of that, because as you know, the commission doesn't have jurisdiction over political subdivisions, and the university would be a unit of the state of Ohio.
Yes. Okay, well, that, I wanted to review that. I'm looking at the ordinance right now. And so that being the case, I will let the commissioners know that we did receive this matter. It was filed on or about, it's not timestamped, but on or about the, since prior to the after the last meeting, individual believes that the University of Akron has discriminated against him within employment, and that is, we don't have well, a matter of employment and gender identity and expression. However, given that University of Akron does not fall within the jurisdiction of the commission, I would move that this matter be dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. I'll make that motion based on jurisdiction. So I move that this case number 22001 be dismissed for lack of jurisdiction.
Commissioner Pitt, second.
Thank you. Motion having been made and seconded. Is there any discussion by the commission? Having heard none, I will pull the, for a vote, I'll pull the commissioners. Commissioner Maddox,
Yes,
Commissioner Pitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice,
yes,
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Thomas. So unanimously, this matter shall be dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. Moving to new business, there is with regard to the new business, there's one thing. The complaint, which there's a motion to, want to discuss with the commissioners, in addition to the complaint, Specifically, you know, we've had some instances where people don't show up. You know, maybe they've filed a complaint, there's not a lawyer involved, and they're not responsive. In order to facilitate the work of the commission, the city put together some language at my request to place on the face of the complaint notice that the complainants have to respond, and that should they not respond in a timely manner, their matter can be dismissed. And so the objective is to give early notice on the face of our complaint that, hey, just filing this, you're going to have to follow up. There's going to be things that, you know, meetings and phone calls and emails to the best of, you know, that we're going to require of you, and that they know up front that these things might be dismissed if they're not sufficiently responsive. Are there any thoughts on that, commissioners?
That notice is going to the complainant?
It would be added to the complaint, and it as a
Okay.
note at the end, so it's on the complaint. So when they
Okay.
look at their complaint, and currently our complaint is 3 pages. At the end of the second page, a paragraph that would say something to the effect, beyond filing this complaint form, a complainant is expected to provide, to timely respond to requests of the commission and or its investigators, to provide accurate contact information to the commission and update it as necessary, and to participate as the matter progresses, which may include appearing at meetings at the commission's request. A complainant's failure to remain accessible and or to appear at scheduled meetings or proceedings may result in the complaint being dismissed. Yeah, I see heads nodding.
Yep.
Commissioner Pitt, okay.
Yeah, Madam President,
Yes,
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Alexander.
I think that would be appropriate. That way we're letting them know up front what's going on and that they need to respond. And if they don't respond, then their case could be dismissed. And that way it gives them full notice versus continuing to try to make contact with them and contacting you, not making any contact with them and just spinning our wheels. So I think that's appropriate.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Alexander. Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, thank you. I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering if we should add in a flexible time frame so that they know that they have, 30 to 60 days or 60 days at most to respond to certain things, or if there's a way to put a number to that. Because I know, people lose track of things sometimes and then they get back into it. And I don't know if that language allows for that, or if we should have a more concrete time frame along with that language.
Attorney York? It looked like you were getting ready to say something, so I.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a commissioner, but I mean, I've got some thoughts on it, but
Oh, all right.
I'm not on the body.
Okay, well, Commissioner, thank you, Attorney York. Well, Commissioner Wilson, I think that time frame might work. It might be hard to nail down a time frame for this reason. Or do you mean like respond within a week to an email or a response or a letter? Because that date might be in the letter. And, certainly we might not be able to keep up with, we might not be able to monitor that as readily because if we want a specific response, maybe we can put that in the instrument that we're sending, whether it's email or letter or correspondence, versus everything they have to respond to in 5 days. I don't know, would that kind of address that if we include that in letters where possible? Such as
Yeah.
a letter, yeah.
I think that makes sense. That was also maybe the stress is the initial reach out. I know, we just had something that we dismissed today because of that. Maybe the language could tend more towards that. These are just some ideas though.
Okay, no, those are good because it's one of my concerns and is balancing the need for efficiency and responsiveness with the duties of a citizens commission. The issues that we're dealing with are, housing, discrimination, employment, public services. And these are folks that are filing without the assistance of an attorney, and sometimes they might be in transit. And so unlike other situations, I feel like we should provide some level of leeway, but balanced against the need to efficiently move through these cases. I think we can continue to have these dialogues and evolve, but certainly where appropriate, to add that timeline in the communicating instrument. This is just to let people know up front, filing it is not enough. They have to be engaged. And I think the language does that fairly well to say, hey, you have to answer requests, calls, you maybe have to meet. Yes. Commissioner Pitt.
I would like to, I like the impetus to have some shape so people know what the expectations are. But I agree with you, Commissioner Thomas, or Chair Thomas, that the actual instrument, and that may be a note for us all as we draft emails to the complainants and respondents I think it is more appropriate to notify them in those individual instruments, each letter or email, what our expectation is of a response time. I think that makes most sense as we move through the process, knowing the process itself and the length it can take. And in the initial response time may be different to how much response we allow later in the process when we know their circumstances or the situations, for example, with the hearing, needing to move that, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioner Wilson, I see your hand's up.
One more time, yes. I just wonder if we should also think about the parameter of actions taken by the commission before a motion of dismissal, like a checkbox in the rules of we've emailed them, we've called them, and if possible, we've tried to send a letter or meet them at the address under which it's filed. Does that make any sense? And do you think that would be a helpful? I think it might be, because a dismissal is somebody filed and went out of their way to do that. They experienced that. They felt that happened to them. A dismissal is a serious thing. I wonder if we could set up the parameters for our own commission within our rules to be able to make sure we do those certain actions. And then we have a little bit more, backing for the need for dismissal because of no contact.
Thank you very much for that. I will note that and I think that has been done. The complainants and respondents get a formal letter acknowledging that it has been received. They then get a subsequent letter acknowledging that it's been assigned. And in one of the cases today, letter came back, addressee unknown, and those types of things. Phone calls have been made and follow up. So I just want to put that out there while I acknowledge Commissioner Pitt. Commissioner Pitt? You're on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to highlight the fact that my understanding is that when we dismissing cases like this, it is without prejudice, and that the letter that goes to them mentions that, so that if their lives stabilize and they have contact information in future, they are certainly at liberty to refile with us. And I think that is something that we should note too, and as we have this discussion about dismissal specifically.
Yes, thank you very much, Commissioner Pitt. When Commissioner Wilson, as I look at the rules of organization and operation, specifically investigation, there are steps that investigators are to go through, and some of them include and I'm looking at specifically rule 16, page 7, as we look at under investigation. I think some of those things are, if not specifically spelled out, make a call, make an email. You know, I would not compel anyone to go to someone's house. This is, you know, because that, but invite them to a meeting, send a letter or email at the address provided. I think these steps call for that. But I think it might be, as we, you know, think about future training and refining some of our operational rules, certainly, I think there's room for that if we want to delve into conducting investigations, particularly as we anticipate, you know, getting additional commission members because we're still down a commissioner. Does that kind of address your thoughts and concerns that we, you know, keep that dialogue going?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Anything else with regard to the complaint at this time? Okay. Under new Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you. I just want to remind the commissioners the opportunity to refile is predicated on whether it is still within the time to file, that time frame. So it's not open-ended so that they think about it or get stabilized and want to file next year. There is a time limit, statute of limitations on the time in which the incident occurred, and then the time with which they have to file. So just bearing in mind that some of these rules, although they're not specified item by item by item, those already embody in our, you know, in our charter, those things are already covered. So if they happen to refile within the appropriate time frame, okay. But as long as, you know, we're all clear that it's not open-ended when they're invited to refile, it still has to be within the time frame of when the incident occurred. That's all I want to say.
Nicely, thank you, Commissioner Maddox. That's a point well taken. You know, periodically, I do try to refresh my knowledge of the rules and the procedures, and it can be a lot. So about a year ago, well, a little more than a year ago, in February 2021, Attorney Bradley Dunn and myself we went over the rules, the rules that govern the commission for the Akron Bar Association. I'll be more than happy if we want to do to schedule a familiar commissioner talk to go over the rules of procedure and operation. I'd be more than happy to do that so that, you know, just we can talk it through or refresh, or, you know, in a small group. If more than several of us get together, it's commission business, but I'll be more than happy to go over the rules and the ordinance with any commissioner if you have the need. So please email me and I'll help any way I can. Okay. Commissioner Maddox.
That is considered commission training. We've had that before with Bradley Dunn. So that's not considered a meeting. So if, you know, however many would want to attend that as a training,
Mhm.
We wouldn't have to have them do it 2 or 3 times just to get us all in. It's not a meeting. It is considered training for us. So
Oh,
that is available to us at the state's Civil Rights Commission's availability.
okay, absolutely. I wasn't volunteering the OCRC. I was volunteering myself
Okay.
to review that with any commissioner to sort of go through it because I like it. I find it helpful and useful. But certainly, okay, but thank you very much. Maybe OCRC, we can talk about doing some training with them. That'd be great. Great. Anything else under new business? I would note, I introduced that Mr. Mr. Young, thank you for joining us. Item 5, reading of public comments. Attorney York, have we received any public comments?
As of this afternoon at 3:30, there had been no comments received this month.
Okay.
Madam Chair, could I just ask for clarification? I'm sorry to interrupt. Regarding the new business, regarding the complaint modification, is there any formal action taken?
Yes, we didn't vote on that. We didn't vote on that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss that.
Um,
Because I believe if you want to change the complaint form, I think you'd need a motion.
Right. Well, let me ask the commissioners with regard to the language. Is there a motion to adopt the following language? A note that would appear on the bottom of the form that reads, beyond filing this complaint form, a complainant is expected to timely respond to requests of the commission and or its investigators to provide accurate contact information to the commission and update it as necessary, and to participate as the matter progresses, which may include appearing at meetings at the commission's request. A complainant's failure to remain accessible and or to appear at scheduled meetings or proceedings may result in the complaint being dismissed, unquote. Based on
Madam
that,
Chair,
Commissioner Pitt?
I would move to accept that language with the following change. Replacing the word investigator with representative. So that it might include the conciliators and the chairperson of the hearing subcommittee, whatever we call that.
Okay.
And I would second it, Commissioner
Okay.
Rice.
Okay. The motion being seconded or proposed with the change of swapping out investigator for representatives has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion at this time? Having heard none, I'll proceed to a vote. Commissioner Maddox,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice. Your speaker's off.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you, Commissioner Rice. Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
And I join Commissioner Thomas votes yes as well. The motion has passed. And I will, that language will be, as amended, will be added to the complaint form. Okay, thank you so much. At this point, we are on item 6, which is adjournment. But prior to adjournment, is there anything for the good of the order or other announcements that any commissioner or has at this time? Okay, well, I make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. And any Commissioner Maddox, Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? There being none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all so much. I hope that a month from now, we don't find out that we never adjourned this meeting. But I think we're in pretty solid ground. I wish you all the very best and stay in touch and please enjoy the spring. Thank you so much. Have a good